Hey, this is Susan Velez from SusanVelez.com, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I make the techie side of blogging easy. So if this is your first time here and you haven't subscribed, I highly recommend that you do, because what I like to do is every Wednesday I create a YouTube video that I believe will help you start, manage, and grow your own self-hosted WordPress blog. So in today's tutorial, what we're going to be talking about is we're actually going to walk through step by step on how to change the Genesis child theme footer credits. Now, we're not going to cover on what to write or what to put in your footer credits. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two methods that you can use to actually change your footer credits. So the first method, we're going to actually use a plugin called the Genesis Custom Footer, and then the second method, we're actually going to add some PHP code to our functions.php file. Now, I'm not a WordPress developer and I don't aim to know a lot about PHP, but the great thing is that the internet allows me to find stuff that I need and allows me to create stuff and mess with my WordPress blog. But I never make these changes to my live blog. I actually always use my localhost, because if you screw around with PHP and you mess something up, you can bring your site down in a flash. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can actually use this plugin to actually start making the footer credits and change them. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to be using this Genesis theme, and it's on a development site, and we're actually going to just change the footer on this actual theme because I don't want to mess around with my development WordPress site. So what we want to do is, the first thing I want to do is you want to log into your back office of your Genesis site that you're going to be changing the footer credits, and we're going to install a plugin called the Genesis Custom Footer. Now, if you've never installed a plugin, what you do is you come over here, you go to plugins, and then you want to add new, and then it'll bring you to this site right here where it says add plugins. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually look for a plugin called Genesis Custom Footer. And it's going to bring up this plugin right here, which I've already got this installed on this site. And you'd want to go ahead and click on it. Would have an install now if it wasn't installed. We'd click on that install now and then want to activate it. And once it's activated, if you come over here, you'll see that it is indeed activated right here on the plugins back office. So in order to start using this plugin, you'll come over here to Genesis. We'll come to theme settings. And then you'd scroll down until you see the Genesis Custom Footer. And as you can see, I already have some shortcode in here, and I grabbed this shortcode from the Genesis Footer shortcode reference. And you have to have an actual Genesis account to log into this and grab the shortcodes that you need. But you can also use HTML if you want. It says enter your custom credit text, including HTML if desired. If you're not that familiar with HTML, what you could do is come over here to this w3schools.com, and it would give you a bunch of HTML. You could actually get familiar with how to use HTML in here. So as I said, I'm actually not going to show you how to or what to put into this footer text. This is actually just something, whatever you want to do, you could put in here. So now that we've got something in here, what you want to do is you want to click on Save Changes, and then this should bring your changes on your site. And as you can see, this is the only thing that I have in my footer. It says 2005 to 2017. Of course, I would make it a little bit more unique, and as you can see on my development site, my personal site, I actually have more stuff in it. But for this demonstration purpose, we're just going to go with it as is right here. We're not too concerned about what it says. We're actually just concerned, I'm just concerned on showing you how to change this. So that's how you change this text information. And you could actually come in here and just put, let's just say this is my custom footer. All right, so we're going to come over here and we're going to click on save, and then that should show up. Let's see. And you can see this is right here. This is my custom footer. And of course, I would highly recommend that you style this and make it a little bit nicer, because right now it looks like crap. And that's actually what I did right here, was I took this and I styled it on a different video. So if you need help styling your footer copyright information, be sure and check out that video because I did create one and walked you through the whole process of how to do that as well. So now what we want to do, if you're like me, you try not to use a ton of plugins on your WordPress site, especially for stuff like this that you're only going to do once and you're not going to do it again. And then I would highly recommend that you use the second method, which is the method I'm going to be showing you, is installing some code on your functions.php file. So if you don't have a backup of your WordPress site, I highly recommend that you do not do this on a live site, because if you do, it could bring down your live site in a flash. If you haven't cloned your blog onto a local host, I highly recommend you check out my video. I actually created a video that shows you how to do that, so that way whenever you're tweaking your WordPress site or testing stuff out, you're not having to worry about messing up your live site. So that said, if your site comes down and you're following this, do not blame me, because I'm telling you right now, don't do this on a live site if you're not feeling really comfortable. So what we want to do is we're actually going to remove this plugin, because we're not going to be using this plugin. Well, I'm just going to actually deactivate it. So we're just going to deactivate it, and then this should bring up the regular default copyright information. As you can see, this is just the default copyright text information that comes on the Genesis theme, the Centric Pro. So what we want to do is we're actually going to access our WordPress files, and then we're going to go into the WordPress content, we're going to themes, and then we're going to go into the child theme, which is the Centric Pro, and we're going to be adding this code that we found online. And that's one of the great things about the internet, is it allows us to access or find anything pretty much we need. And the great thing about using the Genesis framework is there are so many developers and people who have already written this code for us. So all we have to do is just tweak it a little bit and make it suit our website. So I'm coming over here to the Centric Pro, which is the child theme that is installed on this site right here, and we're going to go to functions.php. So this is where we're going to be adding this code. Now the code, I actually found it on, I typed in customize Genesis footer, and as you can see, Brian Gardner, which is the owner or the developer of the Genesis framework, has some code that we could actually use. So if you open this up, you can see that he has written a custom function that we're just going to drop directly into our function.php. And I'm not going to worry about changing it. Well, I'll show you how to change it, but what we're going to do is it says open up your themes function.php and place the following code. And it says right here, if you'll notice, it says do not include the opening PHP tag. So we're just going to grab this code. So we're going to click on view raw, and we're going to grab this code right here, the entire thing, Control C on a PC or Command C on a Mac, and then we're inside the functions.php file on our development site. So we're going to scroll down to the very bottom, and then we're just going to go ahead and drop this code right there. I'm going to Control S, and then we're going to come back over here, and we're going to refresh this, and it should have our new footer right here. So as you can see, this is our new footer text that was just put into our functions.php. So that allows us to change our footer without having to install another plugin. And the great thing about this is that you could actually come over here if you wanted to change this to say what you want it to say. What you come over here is you can see that this is the site footer, and then it's got the class wrap, and then it's got handcrafted with, and then you would pretty much just change out your information right here. It says so if you wanted it to point to your website, it says powered by the, and then it says rainmaker.com platform. So what you would do is you just come over here and just change out, say, let's just say this is my custom footer, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and go remove that, or you could put, okay, so then what we want to do is we want to link it to my website. So we're just going to link it to my development site, susanvelez.dev, and then I'm going to put my name right here. And like I said, I'm not really paying attention to what I'm putting here. I'm just kind of showing you what you would change out. And then this is another link right here. So this is the end of this link. And then this is the beginning of another link. As you can see, it says href equals, and then it takes it to the Brian Gardner contact page. So we don't want it to go to that page. We actually want it to go to my contact page. So we're just going to type in http susanvelez.dev contact / and then it says get in touch. And then we're just going to refresh this, and then my link should point to my actual development links site. So let's just see this. And as you can see, this is my custom footer, Susan Velez. This is a link, and it'll open up to my development site. And if I click on that, it's going to take me to my actual development site. And it's a little slow, but let's see if this works. Close some of these out while that's doing that. All right, so let me open this one and see if this one's a little faster. Okay, so this one should take me to my contact page on my development site. So as you can see, it's opening up my susanvelez.dev contact page, and then this one is opening up my hold on just a minute. Let me pause this and then I'll show you what it opened up. Okay, so here I am. What I did was I actually opened up Firefox. For some reason Chrome is running really slow today, but I want to show you. This is the actual development site, and as I said, this points to my .dev site, and then this points to my .dev contact page. So if I click on open a new tab, and then we're going to open this one in a new tab, then you'll notice that it actually points to my development site right here, and this points to my contact page. So that's how you actually bring or change your actual text footer copyright information without having to use a plugin. Now let me show you what happens if you actually mess it up and just put in something that's not supposed to be there. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring down the site, and I'm going to show you how to fix something. So let's just say we forget this semicolon, and we're going to click save. What this is going to do is this is actually going to bring down my entire WordPress site. And this is the reason that I highly recommend that you do not make any type of changes on your live site, because if you bring down your live site, then you're going to panic and you're going to freak out and you're not going to know what happened. But I know what happened here because we actually just deleted this semicolon. So what we would do is we would actually just add the semicolon back. So let me do that real quick. Hold on just a bit. All right, so what we would do is we would actually just undo that. Let's undo this. All right, so hold on. Let me open this back up. For some reason, it's just not playing very friendly. Anyway, what we'd do is we would actually just go ahead and add that semicolon, but for some reason it's just not letting me add it. Let me close out Sublime real quick. All right, so what we're gonna do is bring it back up, and maybe it'll work this time. There we go. All right, so we're gonna add the semicolon back, and then it's going to bring back the website. So that's how you would change it. But like I said, simple tweaks like that are hard to make when you're actually freaked out because your website came down. So that's why I highly recommend that you actually make all your changes on a local host. And as I mentioned, I actually have a tutorial that will walk you through step by step on how to do that. So sorry there were so many errors on this video, and hopefully you learned something anyway. But this is just to kind of show you that I still learn stuff as I go along, and there's nothing wrong with making errors. It's just knowing how to fix your errors and making sure that you actually don't bring down your site. So when you're learning how to manage your website, there's a ton to learn, and simple tweaks like this are very easy to make, and you can do it. And hopefully this tutorial showed you how simple it is to actually find some code online, stick it in your WordPress site. And as I mentioned, there's a ton of code out there for the Genesis framework, Genesis child themes, that you can actually use without you really knowing what you're doing. So anyway, if you like this tutorial, I highly recommend that you subscribe to this YouTube channel and give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a great one.